I literally hate being a mom. But I love my child, but I hate being a mom. And I feel like people that are only
Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, we'll be talking about women exposing that they regret having kids. So you guys have put the videos together so that you watch and learn. I'll be back to share my true sense.
I literally hate being a mom. But I love my child, but I hate being a mom. And I feel like people that are only moms can only understand this saying. You can love your child but hate being a mom, because being a mom comes with so much responsibility. But the thing that I hate most about being a mom is the fact of how vulnerable it makes me, and the fact that every single decision I make, I have to think about my child. Like, there's no form of selfishness, if you get what I mean. I really hate how vulnerable that makes me. Some people love that about being a mom, like you're vulnerable, da, da, da. Like me, no. Like, bro, I think about so many things. If my child gets bullied, if my child goes to someone's house and they do something, like that is putting not only them, but me in a vulnerable position, if you get what I mean. And I can be strong for my child so much. Do you get it? Like, they're gonna have to go through certain things in life that I'm not gonna have any control over, heartbreak, all of that. And it's like, damn, like, I understand it's hurting my child, but it's putting me in such a vulnerable position. It's just such a hard thing, you know? A very, very hard thing.
Hi, Kelly. While I enjoy your videos on TikTok so much, I didn't think I'd ever be submitting. I am 13 weeks pregnant with my first child. Prior to marrying, I had made my peace with being childless, but the idea of having a kid with my best friend made it seem less daunting. However, without intending to, I learned the baby is a boy, and I can't help but feel disappointed. I went into my healthcare provider portal to see the results of some chromosomal abnormality tests, and there it was, male. Thankfully, no abnormalities. Being that this is our first child, we are planning a gender reveal for our families, but now that I know, I feel the need to almost rehearse an appropriate response. I was hoping for a girl for many reasons, including that in both our families, the men outnumber women by a mile. I felt this instant sense of dread at the thought that a male is coming into this world to drain me of my resources. Girls are nurturing caretakers by nature, helpers even. My husband takes no initiative to clean or tidy up, but instead points out to me that something needs cleaning. Men need to be taken care of. They develop common sense and emotional intelligence so much later, if at all. Not to mention, research shows if there is a genetic component to psychopathy or sociopathy, males have greater odds. I know that's morbid thinking, but the idea that my kid will take decades to become independent worries me. I acknowledge much of this will have to do with our parenting, but I cannot help but think we will put everything into this and, at best, raise a mediocre member of society. I'm Catholic, so even writing this entry of this nature is giving me guilt because you're supposed to get what you get and not get upset. I guess I can't say yet if I regret getting pregnant. We'll have to see. I always wanted children, and I was sure I would be a happy mother. I met my husband when we were in our teens, and we were married in our early 20s. He wanted the same thing as me in life, which was a big, happy family and a place in the country. We had our first child, and she was everything I could have hoped for. She hit all her milestones early and was the apple of both our eyes. When we found out I was pregnant again, we were overjoyed and had our son soon after. At first, everything was fantastic, and I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. I had a loving husband who worked hard so I could be a stay-at-home mom, and two beautiful children. As my son approached his first birthday, a bad feeling was settling over me. My son wasn't hitting milestones like my daughter had, and even started to lose some of the skills he gained. At first, everyone reassured me I was just comparing him to my high-achieving daughter, but by 18 months, I was sure something was wrong and started going to doctors. To make a long story shorter, my son was diagnosed with multiple problems by the time he was 2. He has a severe intellectual disability, and even a decade later, his brain is the same as when he was 12 months old. He also has severe autism, which means he will frequently scream, bashes his head against a wall so badly that he has to wear a helmet, attacks people to the point I've been hospitalized, and the list continues. He has a sleep disorder and his brain doesn't produce the sleep hormone melatonin. He has the sleep schedule of a new baby, and I haven't slept through the night in the 9 years he has been in this world. He cries endlessly. He blocks his eyes and ears and keeps blankets over his head. All his senses seem to cause him pain. He has been incredibly unwell a few times now, and no one has known because he can't communicate. He almost died when he was 4 after suffering with excruciating stomach pain for days. We did not know, and it breaks our hearts that he can't tell us when he's in pain. He can't communicate in any way, and he screams if we try to leave the house. The best therapists and doctors have tried everything to help us. I have no idea what he's thinking or who he is inside because he is so trapped in his mind. All we know are his disabilities that consume his every moment. I feel like I don't even know my own son. I wish I had understood how risky it is to be a parent. No one talks about the kids that will never grow up, the ones who will never be toilet trained. Having a child with a disability is more common than people realize, yet we are never told to consider this when discussing parenthood. No one thinks it will happen to them. I would never have had children if I had known this could be my life. I will never get to travel, have a career, or do anything except care for my son. I can't even bring up the effect this has on my daughter without the deep sense of guilt. The ways this has ruined her childhood is a whole other story. I leave the house once a week to go to the shops. I've long since lost contact with friends. My husband works endlessly to support us all, but every cent has to be budgeted for the day where we are so old we can no longer care for him. My husband is exhausted and a shell of who he used to be. Watching the light go out of his eyes is devastating. I love him and I know he's suffering. I'm also haunted by what will happen to my son when we pass away. Will he be treated with kindness, shown any compassion? What of my daughter who will be alone and inheriting this life I don't want for her? The guilt I have weighs heavy. I did nothing to cause this outcome, but I also know I can't do anything to fix it. I feel responsible for these kids I brought into this world. Watching your child suffer and being powerless to fix things is another hell I wouldn't wish upon anyone. I constantly dream of him begging me to help him, while all I can do is cry. The nightmares haunt the little sleep I do have. I don't know why I brought children into a world so full of suffering. Yes, I've had therapy and been on medication. At the end of the day, you can't heal from a trauma, you are still living, and even my therapist agrees that my body is acting normally for the stress I am under. My husband and I both take medication for depression. We can't change our reality. My faith was the last thing I lost. At first, I prayed with all my heart and soul every night. I researched and spent my days trying to stay hopeful. That lasted about 6 years before my hope and faith faded. We were good people who loved our children, and I am so heartbroken that this happened to us. I don't want to be in a world where an innocent little boy will suffer endlessly. No matter how bad things are, I can't give up because my son needs me. I've got about 40 years left in this life, and I know exactly what every day holds for me. The misery that is our lives just has me wondering why I had kids. Why would I create life when I can't protect them? I feel selfish. I never considered what sadness this world has to offer. I wish I never brought children into this world at all. The only thought that brings comfort is knowing that if my son had to be born, I'm glad it was to us. At least I know he will be safe and loved until my last breath. But if I had to choose, I would choose that he was never born at all.
That's a video, guys. So I'm just here also to share my true sense, like what I think about today's video. Why women regret having their kids. Okay. So let me just share with you. Ladies, have you ever heard a parent admit they regret having kids? It's a conversation that usually kept in whispers, hidden behind closed doors, or buried under feelings of guilty and shame. Society tells us that becoming a parent is supposed to be the most rewarding experience, the ultimate purpose in life. But for some, the reality doesn't match the expectations. More people, especially mothers, are speaking out because about the pressure, struggles, and silent regrets that come with parenthood. They love their kids, but if they couldn't go back in time, they wouldn't choose this life again. Today, we're going to dive into the harsh truth about regret for parents, why they feel this way, and what they say about the unrealistic expectation placed on parenting. For decades, parenthood has been sold as beautiful, fulfilling journey, people assume that once you have kids, everything will just fall into place. You will feel overwhelming sense of love, purpose, and joy. But for some parents, that never happens. Instead, they find themselves feeling trapped, exhausted, or even resentful. The emotional and financial toll of raising children can be overwhelming. And not everyone is prepared for the reality of what it means to be responsible for another life 24/7 for years. Some regretful parents, they were pressured into having kids because it wasn't the right thing to do. Others never actually wanted children but gave in to society or family expectations. And some simply didn't realize how much they would lose time, freedom, their sense of self until it was too late. The pressure to be perfect parents makes things even worse. Parents are expected to sacrifice everything for their children and still be happy and grateful. But what happens when they are not? Many parents who are experiencing regret are afraid to admit it because of judgment. If a mother says she regrets having kids, people assume she's unloving or selfish. If a father feels trust by fatherhood, he has been irresponsible, immature. This silence forces many parents suffer isolation, bottling up emotions they are not allowed to express. Social media only adds to this with picture perfect family moments, making it seem like everyone is loving parenthood while some are secret struggling. For many regretful parents, the hardest part is not just feeling trapped, but realizing they no longer recognize themselves. Before having kids, they had hobbies, careers, and personal goals. After children, their entire identity revolves around being a parent. Some men express regret because they gave up their dreams for motherhood, only to find out it's not difficult to fulfill in the way they were promised. Some men feel resentful because they now bear the financial and emotional burden of providing for a family they were not ready for. And for both parents, the never ending exhaustion can push them into a state of a burnout where they feel like they're just surviving rather than living. Financial struggles are another major factor. Kids are expensive, and many parents find themselves drowning in costs they never fully anticipated. The pressure to provide to good life from education to other activities can be suffocating. Some parents regret having kids because they feel like they can't give them the life they deserve, leading to feeling of guilty and frustration. Others miss the freedom to make choices for themselves, whether it's traveling, pursuing a career, or even just having quiet moments. Parenthood is a lifelong commitment, and for those who feel regret, the realization that they can never undo this decision can be devastating. But let's be clear, regret doesn't mean this parent doesn't love their kids. Many regretful parents say they would do anything for their children, even if though they wish they had a different choice. The love is real, but so is the struggle. And all some parents come to accept the role over time. Others continue to feel trapped, wondering what life could have been if they have chosen differently. This conversation is becoming more common, especially among young generations who are questioning whether parenthood is truly for them. More people are being honest about the hardships of raising kids, the loss of personal freedom, and the unrealistic society expectations that comes with parenting. Some women are openly choosing to be child-free because they have seen the struggle of regretful mothers and don't want the same. Others are waiting until they're absolutely sure rather than rushing into because of external pressures. So what does this mean for society? As more people talk about regretful parenthood, it will lead to fewer people having kids. We will shift it or choosing the child free to fully acceptable without judgment and everything. So push the idea that parenthood is the only path to fulfillment. So let's talk it. Do you think more parents regret having kids than we realize? Do you think these regrets come from personal choices or unrealistic expectations placed on parents? So share your thoughts in the comment section. So I don't know what you think. So a lot of women are regretting having kids because some of the kids like they didn't plan for them. Okay. And some it's because maybe society said you're supposed to have kids. And mostly I give example, um the pressure of having kids comes from families. they'll be calling you, no, are you having kids now? Why are you having kids? Why are you not having kids? Because you have everything and all that. But yourself, mentally, you're not okay. You're the best person who knows yourself. Like, I can't manage to handle kids, and I can manage to handle kids because it comes with a lot. It comes with a lot of pressure. It comes with a lot, like mentally, you just have to be okay. Because myself, if I have a child, I want to be active, okay? I want to be near her. I want to be with her anywhere I'm going. And it's just, I'm having a job and everything, but I don't want to be an absent mother. Like, I would find time for my kids and everything. Okay. So we just have to do that. So have kids when you plan, and it's not good to start regretting later. So that's a video for today, guys. I don't know what you think. And leave the comment in the comment section, like, what do you think? Do you regret having your kids, or what happened? Or maybe if you had the chance, can you choose differently? So yeah, so that's a video, guys. I'll see you in my next episode. All I can say for now is, let's say bye bye. Bye, guys.